evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are watching us from. This is your regular host for Connect with Comfort Show. My name remains Comfort Eyitayo, your regular host on Connect with Comfort Show. On this program, we aim to add value to people, to business, enterprise, and personal growth. Each show is organized to feature special guests who are subject matter experts on the topic of the day that helps us to share insights on the topic. And we have such guests in the house today. You are most welcome. I'm glad you are able to join us. It gives me great pleasure to introduce this topic because it's a topic that strikes at the very heart of financial sustainability, family prosperity, and legacy building. And the topic is unlocking generational wealth, how trust services safeguard assets, secure legacies, and build financial freedom. As we all know, we live in a world where wealth can be created in a single generation, but sadly lost in the next. History and research consistently remind us that without the right structures, families struggle to preserve assets beyond the second or third generation. It is at this point that trust services steps in, not merely as legal instruments, but as strategic vehicles for wealth preservation, risk management, and the transfer of values alongside valuables. Today's conversation is not just about money, it is about vision, stewardship, and responsibility. We will explore how trust provides a framework to protect assets from erosion, ensure smooth intergenerational transfer, and empower families to achieve financial freedom that lasts beyond their lifetime. In essence, this conversation is about securing the future, building legacies that are not only remembered but also impactful, not only inherited but also multiplied. So I invite you all to engage with an open mind as we dive into practical insights, timeless principles, and modern applications of trust services in unlocking true generational wealth and financial freedom. Together, let us discover how to safeguard today's success for tomorrow's freedom. Once again, I would like to say a big thank you for joining us. We'll go into all this and much more when we come back after this short break. Please remain connected. We'll be right back. Thank you.
Please stop. These days, children could stay glued to their TV, and if you don't step in as a parent, they might never look up. As a parent, you have to step in to help them to fine-tune their academic career. That is why at Cedros Group Africa, we have set up a tutelage trust to cater for them. What is tutelage trust? Is a trust set up to cater for the education of their children. It's from elementary to university level. This trust could be set up by setting aside a certain amount of money, which could be done either weekly, monthly, or in a flexible manner as pleases the parents. The fund in the account is what the trustees will use to finance all necessary bills regarding the education of the listed beneficiary. So if there's anything you want to pause, you can pause their game, pause their phone, but never try to pause their education. For further inquiry, kindly contact this phone number on the screen. Cedros Tutelage Trust, secure the future, one lesson at a time. Thank you.
You're welcome back. Like I said earlier, we have our guests already in the house. And our guest today on Connect with Comfort show is Mr. Ekundayo Folorunsho Festus. Folorunsho is a seasoned finance trust management professional with over 15 years experience in brokerage, capital, markets, and trusteeship services. He holds an MBA in finance from Ladoke Akintola University of Technology and a degree in banking and finance from Osun State College of Technology. He began his career in 2009 with Core Trust Limited and later spent over a decade at United Capital Trustees Limited, where he rose to the position of team lead. In September 2024, he joined Cedros Trustees Limited as head private and wealth trust, where he provides strategic leadership in wealth structuring and fiduciary services. Festus is a fellow of the Nigerian Institute of Management, NIM, and he brings to the boardroom deep expertise in financial services, governance, and sustainable client value creation. Please join me in making welcome to Connect with Comfort show our special guest for today, Mr. Ekundayo Folorunsho Festus. You are most welcome to Connect with Comfort show. We appreciate your willing to share your vast experience with our viewers, because I know many viewers out there do not really know the integrity about trust services. And that is why we are doing this special program today to create the necessary awareness and help people to know the options out there for them, especially in becoming financially free in terms of investment. So you are welcome once again. We are glad to have you.
Thank you very much, Ma. I sincerely appreciate you for this wonderful privilege given to me, and not only just me, to my organization as well. So basically, I would love to start by saying Cedros Trustees Limited is a subsidiary of Cedros Group Africa, a rapid growing Pan Africa investment organization regulated by the Security Exchange Commission of Nigeria. So, as City Health, we combine our wealth, experience, and expertise to render unique services, trust services, which include public trust, corporate trust, and private trust. So, basically, I work as a trust head. So, when we talk about trust, I know majorly people wonder what do you mean by trust, and it's something that is very, very unique. The first thing I want
Mr.
people to register in the
Mr.
mind is that,
Mr. Ekundayo, if you don't want
yes,
us
ma'am.
to charge you on this show for advertisement, let's let's take this program as it's supposed to run. Like I said, we are trying to create awareness for our viewers, and
Yep.
we have questions that will help us to probe into what we believe they want to know. Of course, they are free to also send messages in for other areas that we have not covered. So let's take the show in that line. So our first question would be to to educate our viewers who may not be familiar with the subject matter, that is trust services. What exactly are trust services and why are they important in today's economy?
Okay, thank you very much, man. So, a trust is a legal arrangement where one party, known as a trustees, hold and manage assets for the benefit of the listed beneficiary. And there is always a three parties to a trust. The first thing I want our listener to know is that a trust does not exist in a vacuum. There must be three essential parties to it. And the three essential parties include a trustees, a settlor, and beneficiaries. So basically, the trustees is the one who will deem it fit to hold the asset that the settlor who have decided to take upon his or herself a trust services for the benefit of him himself being the primary beneficiary in his lifetime, and also the listed beneficiary being the secondary beneficiary in his lifetime. So basically, the trust is the one who will deem it fit to hold the asset that the primary beneficiary in his life, that the secondary beneficiary automatically will become the primary beneficiary. So what that implies is that there must be three parties to it: the settlor, the trustees, and also the beneficiary. So the question, unlocking generational wealth. For us to unlock generational wealth, there must be something that is very essential that we need to put in place, and that is known as estate planning. And when we talk about estate planning, there are basic tools to
Mr.
estate
Ekundayo,
planning,
please
which are
let
either
us Mr. Ekundayo, please let's be guided on this show with the interview question, please. Let's so that
okay,
we
okay,
will
man.
take the segment for proper understanding. It has been so structured, please. Thank you very much for that
Okay, man.
answer. At least that gives
Okay,
uh,
man.
introduction to our viewers to know what we're talking about. Now, how do trust
Okay.
services differ from regular banking or investment services?
Okay, so basically, um investment services is quite different from trust services in the sense that a trust services is being set up with a listed beneficiary. Then when we talk about investment services, they are being set up with the owner of an investment, and probably at times in a situation where we talk about banking, you have to provide a nest of kin. And if you look at it, basically under the law, there's no provision for a nest of kin to lay a claim. So when we talk about trust services, the listed beneficiary, upon the demise of the settlers of the account, could lay a claim on whatsoever that form the estate of the settler. Thank you, ma.
Okay. So the major difference you are bringing out to us is the issue of the next of kin. Is that correct?
Yes, the
That's the
next
major
of kin
difference.
and the listed beneficiary. Yes, that's the
Listed
major
beneficiary.
difference. Yes.
Does it mean in all situations when you set up a trust, it has to be for another beneficiary? Can a trust not be set up for the person that initiated that as like an investment, for instance?
Okay, that was what I was trying to explain before I was being cut short. So basically, the
Well, sorry,
settler
I don't mean to
of a
cut you short.
trust.
You are going
Yes,
away. If we don't structure this,
from
then we will not be able to achieve the aims of the show. So please, don't
yes,
take
I
it
understand, ma.
wrongly. Yeah.
No, not at all, ma. I'm fine, ma. So basically, the settler, that is the person that put a trust in place, is the primary beneficiary. He
Okay.
has asset, he control it. Whatever the trustee is doing, they are doing it on his or her behalf. So in his lifetime, is the primary beneficiary, is the major beneficiary. He give instruction to the trustees on what to do based on the agreement between him and the trustee, which lead to the drafting of what is known as a trust deed.
Okay. Thank you. I think it's better to make that clarification. So, in simple terms, what role does a trustee play in protecting assets?
Okay, basically, as I said, when I talk about assets under management, whatever that is being committed to the hand of the trustees, the key thing is that the operation of that account is being made in the lifetime of the settler. And whatever the settler is doing in his lifetime, these are things that the trustees will look into, give advisory services, ensure that it is properly done, and in his lifetime they secured the total asset of the settler. So we are protector to the asset of a particular settler. We form a shield, we protect, we preserve, and we prevent, and also we ensure that whatever that is being committed to us in times of fund is being invested only in a secured instrument. So these are many of the functions of the trustees to a settler.
That is good to know. Now, let's look at it in the context of relevance to individuals and families or families. If we are taking it on that angle, how can trust services help families secure their wealth and plan for future generation?
Okay, well, it's it is very simple. The trust services help family to secure their wealth through what we call a trust deed. A deed of trust or a trust deed is a legal document, provided the information of it is being provided by the settler to the trustees. So it's a document that is being drafted by the trustees based on the intention of the settler, and due to what he or she has prepared, like, okay, these are the things I want you to do in my lifetime, and these are the things I don't want you to do. So this document enable the trustees to look into the asset and liability of the settler. So it is a power entrusted to the trustees. So through this power, the trustees will ensure that while the settler is still alive, everything is being done according to that, the power of that trust deed. And when the settler is no longer alive, knowing fully well that the listed beneficiary has moved to the position of the primary beneficiary. So in that situation, the trustees ensure that whatever that is being done, it must be in line with the trust deed that empower the trustees to the settler.
Okay. Let me just ask a question as a rider to that. At the time the primary beneficiary, that is the person that initiated this trust deed, passed on passes on, the secondary beneficiary that now becomes the primary beneficiary, can he or she make amendments to the trust deed, flowing from what you said earlier, that the trust deed is based on the desires and needs of the initial initiator, if I can use that word.
Yes, absolutely, it is possible on a particular ground, and the ground is that every trust that is set up it where with a trust deed has a period of 20 years. So if the period at which this trust the settlor set it up elapse, that simply give the new beneficiary the power to amend if he or she want to continue with the trustees. So he or she
Okay.
could amend some certain things after the
Only
20 years elapsed. Yes,
okay, it's
after
only
the 20,
when
but
it
the first
elapsed.
20 years
Okay.
written, yes, if it doesn't elapse, it doesn't have the power to amend anything.
I see. I see. Okay, that is quite clear. Many Nigerians think trusts are only for the wealthy. Is this true, or can everyday people like us benefit too?
Obviously, trust is for everybody in the sense that when you look at the structure of the trust, it is more reliable, more dependable, and more accountability. So in this situation, we could set up various types of trust that could align with our source of income. E.g., a low earner could put in place a private investment trust for his or herself based on his income. What does that do? Is enable an individual to have a saving culture. So for you to have a saving culture, you could put in place a private investment trust. One, for you to cater for the education of your children, you could also set up what we call a tutelage trust. It helps the settler to cater for the education of his children. Do you see now? And when we talk about the larger one, that is for people that owns businesses, they could put in place what we know as a family trust to preserve the legacy of a family. So in this situation, you will see that the trust have the power to for the low earner, for the wealthy, and also for the middlemen, if there's still any in in Nigeria today. Thank you, ma.
Thank you very much. We have a contribution from Bayo Day, and it goes thus: for someone learning about trust services for the very first time, how would you explain what a trustee really does in everyday language?
Okay, as a trustees, we are stewardship entrusted to act in the capacity of a settler. So what we do is we carry out our day-to-day activities as instructed and agreed between the trustees and the settler for the purpose of the beneficiary. So and we give regular report to the settler. For instance, one that has set up a trust services, let's say e.g. education trust, we have to know about the day-to-day activities regarding the beneficiary provided for that tutelage trust. So what we do basically is that we provide adequate information to the settler, and in line as well, we ensure that we provide advisory services, which is very essential. We provide advisory services to individual and also to the cooperative or corporate body.
Thank you very much for that explanation. Can trust play a role in estate planning and reducing family disputes after the death of a loved one?
In fact, what everybody need in terms of estate planning is a trust. Why? It is so simple. When we talk about the tools of estate planning, we have just two major tools, which is will drafting and trust setting up. And when we talk about writing of a will, the provider of information to that will is known as a testator. So he provide information to the trustees or to the lawyer that will draft the will. And after drafting the will only be kept and wait for the demise of that testator. Do you see now? So it is written and kept, lodged under government. Then having done that, it is kept. Nothing will be done. And when we talk about trust, trustee the trust services allow the settlor to see how things will be run in his lifetime, meaning that the drafting of the trust deed is being done in the lifetime of the settlor, and the settlor will see how things will be run when he or she is no longer alive, because the trust operation will have been in place in his lifetime. And another key thing about it is that the trust deed enable is formed as a shield to the asset and liability of a settlor, because it does not allow anybody to contest whatever the settlor has done over the years. So based on this, these are very very key to any settlor to put in place.
Thank you very much. We have two contributions. I will take that of Adefemi Ononuga first. If the media will put it. Thank you. It goes thus. Is it possible to have part of one's assets in a will, e.g., property, and the remainder in a trust, e.g., stock?
Yes, it's very very possible. In fact, majorly we tell people the law that govern Nigeria make it clearer to every citizen of the nation that for every person that have a pension fund must have what we known as a will. So in line with that, we as the trustees, we always encourage individuals that want to put in place a living trust or any trust services to just ensure that there is what we call a simple way that could cater for that PVN, that is the pension fund. So once your pension fund is catered for, you could put your will inside the trust, and the purpose is that that will enable the government to listen to the trustee that the house has been put in order by the settlor. So basically, you could put your property in a trust. It is allowed.
Okay, and you can split it as the question has, both in the stock and the property. You
Yes,
can split. Yes. Okay.
yes, you can do that. You can do that. But before you do that, there are some things we will advise you to do in order for us as a trustees not to get stuck at the point of administer our trustees services upon the demise of the settlor. We will help you to find two things. Let you know that okay, these are things you could put in a will, and these are things that are meant to form your trust.
Okay. There's the second contribution is from Samson Ajibade from Lagos. He asks, what is the difference between a trust and a will?
Okay. A will is a document prepared and kept on behalf of a testator. I said something earlier on. The one who provide an information about a will is the testator. When he provide information, the information is either being provided to either a lawyer or a trustee. So that is used to draft a will. And one good thing about a will is that there is no operation regarding it in the lifetime of that testator. And the difference between it and to that of a trust is that trust operation began in the lifetime of a settlor. So, I said there are three parties to it: settlor, beneficiary, and the trustees. So, the operation enable you to know how things will be run when you are no longer alive. One, an additional thing is that property, asset, liability under the trust are more easier to transfer to listed beneficiary under a trust to that of a will. When we talk about a will, you will have the beneficiary to the will will definitely have to go through a probate grant. And when we talk about the trust has made provision for you and for your beneficiary not to route through a probate grant. So these are many more the differences between a trust and that of a will.
Thank you very much. I think we have actually done justice looking at the individual and the family angle. Let's for a while just look at it from the corporate and institutional angle, because we know there are some corporate concerns that may be listening. So beyond individuals, how do companies and government agencies benefit from trust services?
Okay. So basically, corporate bodies benefit from trust services. I made mention of something called a family trust. A family trust could be put in place to ensure that the legacy of a particular family continue to run till infinity from one generation to another. Yes, it is what the trust is capable of doing. All what that organization need to do is to ensure that a representative of the trustees form part of the board of such organization. And one good thing about it is that whosoever that the trustees provided to form part of the board of that organization could as well be replaced in a situation whereby he or she decided to leave the organization. So the way a trust is being set up, it is more flexible. It accommodates every section. So in lieu of that, corporate body as well enjoy trust services.
Thank you. What role does a trustee play in public bonds, corporate debt, or large-scale infrastructural financing?
So basically, when we talk about corporate trust, we work as a trustees in so many ways to corporate trust. And basically, when we talk about that, we talk about the venture. The trustees in that situation help an organization that is trying to source for funds from either a bank or an investment company to stand as as an intermediary between the bank, that is serve as an intermediary between the lender and the borrower. So in this situation, the collateral that is meant to be given to a bank to secure a loan by a corporate organization will be given to trustees to hold on trust, meaning that in a situation whereby the organization default, the trustees still have the power to ensure that he plead and act on his behalf, that the bank should not go ahead easily to sell the asset of that organization. And not only that, in the public sector, basically the trustees will equally assist in floating of bond. If you look at a lot of big or huge things that is being done in various states, like let me use Lagos State for example. If you look at the major construction going on in Lagos State, you discover that they are being done by the floating of the bond. So what trustee does in that situation is that trust trustees companies comes together, listen to the intention of a particular state, and help to get the necessary fund by funding the project, and knowing fully well that there is fact that comes on monthly basis to the state. So by the time the trustees assist to float it, and upon the receiving of the fact comes in to the state and it is being released to the trustees as a way of repayment. So basically, these are the role that the trustees actually carried out for corporate and public trust.
Thank you very much. We have a contribution from Ayode once again. and it goes thus: looking at the provisions of the NTAA that will be operational as from January 2026, what advantage would you like to emphasize for us to be encouraged to undertake trust services?
Okay, so basically, starting from 2026, in fact, I will say starting from this moment, the advantage to emphasize for us to encourage in taking up a trust services is that trust services is flexible. It is flexible and reliable. And in that situation, it will form as a shield to every investment under it. And not to only to investment, also to every asset and liability under it. So basically, that is what I will say to that.
Are you done?
Yes, yes, yes. I
Oh,
shorten it.
okay. Okay. Now, thank you very much. We've covered the individual and family, and now we've covered corporate and institutional angle. In all this, we have been mentioning trust, trust deed, and all that. Transparency plays a very key role when we talk of trust. If something is trustworthy, there has to be transparency, or is expected. So, given public concerns about mismanagement in Nigeria, how can people be sure their assets are safe with a trustee?
Okay, at my introduction, I made mention that trustee is being regulated by SEC, and I know that Nigeria are more familiar with the role of a SEC, how rigid and tough a SEC could be to every organization. So, and based on this, as a trustees, there are some certain reports that we need to file monthly basis, on quarterly basis to the SEC. Number one. And I tell people that as a trustees, we could as well be sued by a settler. Yes, I made mention of a trust deed. That document outline the power given to a trustees to act on behalf of the settler. In a situation whereby the trustees deviated from that um, power given to him, in that situation, the settler has the power as well to sue. And as a trustees, we are image maker. We don't want anybody to tarnish our image. So based on that, we dare not go against what is agreed to be carried out according to the trust deed. So based on this, accountability, security, protection of assets, property well managed is very, very key to us. I don't know if you will permit me to just use this example. If you permit me, ma, yes, ma, I'll be glad to say. So basically, I see a lot of Nigeria in diaspora sending fund home to the assemblies for them to build a house for them to set up investment on their behalf, and whenever they return home, 95% of them receive the story that touches the heart. And I will use this medium to advise them to rather route their intention through a trustees, knowing fully well that a trustees dare not deviate from the initial agreement, because they have the power to sue the trustees as well. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On that particular note, if we
Yes,
talk
ma'am.
of checks and balances, is it
Okay.
only when you are able to sue a loan that you can make trustees accountable? Are there other checks and balances that are in place?
Okay. There are a lot of check and balances. One, a trustee is a steward that is meant to render monthly, quarterly, annual reports to the settler. We provide a platform for the settler to know what is being carried out on his or her behalf. So in that situation, what that simply means is that there must be a return, an adequate report from a trustees to a settlor on a quarterly, monthly, and annual basis. So based on that, you have the privilege to receive your statement of account, to see whatever that has been put in place by the trustees on your behalf. And not only that, in a situation whereby, let's say for instance, a house is being given to a trustees to manage and renovation is being done, for us as a trustees to carry out that renovation, the first thing is to do is that we will inspect the property, write a report, justify why the renovation should be done. Having sent that to the settlor, we will have to wait for the consent of the settlor before we forge ahead. We won't say because we are trustees, we have the fund in our capacity, we just dip our hand into it. Not at all. We will wait for the approval of the settlor, and once the settlor approve, then we go ahead. Then upon the completion of that renovation, adequate report also will be provided by the trustees to the settlor. So in all these cases, you could see that there is a room for other check and balance system for the settlor to have rest of assurance.
That's quite reassuring. Now, you mentioned filing to SEC, and my question on this is it only you are regulated only by SEC, or is there any other regulator that you are accountable to?
So as a trustees, we are only regulated by SEC.
Okay.
SEC has the power to sanction. SEC has the power to revoke the license of the trustees, but on some certain ground, which company like us will never try to.
Okay. Now, let's look at the current trend and possible challenges in these trust services. With digitalization and financial technology that abounds, how are trust services evolving?
Okay. So as a trustees, one of the key thing is that we equally have a platform.
Hello, seems network. Mr. Ekundayo, can you hear us? Okay. Um, Before the network glitch is resolved, I think we'll just note the very important areas for this very unique topic for today. We are talking about generational wealth and being able to transfer the generational wealth. It's not just about accumulating wealth, it's also about preservation, transfer, and growth. As we have gathered today, many families lose wealth within one or two generations due to poor planning and lack of structure or mismanagement. So these are things that we need to really apply our minds to make sure that we do not fall victim. Trust services provide a structured mechanism to break this cycle. And as we have been told, for trust, for the important parties for trust to happen, you have the trustee, the settlor, and the beneficiary. The watchword here is that we need to safeguard our assets as well as securing legacies for families and generations to come. In addition, we also need to build financial freedom Trust as a tool can be used for this because of structured financial planning, which allow beneficiaries to focus on growth rather than survival. And we have also been told it can be used to provide for education funds, investment platforms, or even income streams for multiple generations. This is to ensure wealth is not consumed but multiplied through disciplined structure. When we want to address common misconception, that is the part we're asking our guests before the network disruption. The common misconception works around like trusts are not only for the ultra wealthy, because some people believe that it's for the wealthy. So it's not really for the wealthy alone. They are accessible planning tools for middle and upper class families as well. And the misunderstanding around loss of control vis-a-vis structured management can also has also been cleared from what our guest told us. There's need to highlight affordability and long-term value compared to potential costs of litigation, tax losses, or mismanagement. And one clear differential that our guest made for us between a trust deed and the will is also very important. Some people are not able to get the benefit of the testator because of the bottleneck like probate and all that. Those who are not able to go through all this process can end up losing the benefit that they are meant to get from the trust deed. So, I mean, from the will. And that is where the trust services differs. We also have role for professionals in this topic that we are looking at, the trust services. Accountants, lawyers, and financial planners are partners in designing effective trust structures. Because we've talked about transparency, we've talked about compliance and adaptability to changing laws and family dynamics. This is why these professionals are critical parts to these services. We have contribution from Olubusayo Adeniyi saying that in addition to the points made, trustees protect the interests of investors in public trust. Thank you very much. Our guest also alluded to that earlier. So for our call to action on this very important topic, families and entrepreneurs should begin early. Wealth planning should not be postponed. Encouragement to seek professional guidance to tailor trust solutions is also advised, because when you do not have the necessary expertise, it's better to seek the counsel of professionals who will be able to guide you better. Framing trust services as a gift of stability, peace of mind, and continuity for the next generation is worthy of note. As we come to the end of this conversation because of time, unfortunately, our guests have been kicked out with the network. Nevertheless, we would like to really appreciate him because he has done so so very much. He has shared great insights into this very important topic. And we say, Mr. Ekundayo, if you can still hear us, thank you very much for this great insight. In form of conclusion, we have seen clearly that generational wealth is not built by chance, but by choice. The deliberate choice to plan, to protect, and to preserve. Trust services stand at the very heart of this process, helping us safeguard assets from erosion, securing legacies against uncertainty, and establishing frameworks and ensure financial freedom for generations yet unborn. If wealth is the fruit of our labor, trust is the soil that sustains it. By embracing structures that outlive us, we move beyond the mindset of accumulation into the vision of continuity, ensuring that we build today because our tomorrow beckons with blessings. So my charge to us, therefore, is to see wealth not just as personal achievement, but as generational responsibility. I want to appreciate our numerous audience that have joined us today. I'll just quickly make a roll call of those that I've noticed. We have Bayo Debanjo, we have Wendy Garuba, we have Odubusayo Adeniyi, we have Adefemi Ononuga Samson Ajibade, who is also a contributor, Moses Olaitan, Tokunbo Ajayi. Thank you, Tokunbo. Tayo, also so Tayo, and then Ojo, that's our regular follower on this show. So I want us to really take the lessons learned. The reason why we brought this, like I said, is that there's general misconception about what the trust services entails, as well as for us to know that there are other options. When you talk of investment, there are other options that are available to us. If you desire to know more, or there's a particular area that you want to know more about this, you can make contact with us. We'll try to find the solution for you. So I'd like to appreciate everybody that joined us today. And once again, appreciate our special guest. Maybe last minute contribution from Bayode. Trust services safeguard assets and secure legacies by providing a structured and legally recognized framework that ensures wealth is managed, preserved, and transferred. I think that much we have emphasized in the show. So I hope, because time does not permit us to continue. Okay, quick one from Olubusayo Adeniyi. The principle behind corporate trusteeship is security and protection of assets. Thank you very much. So we got all these hints from the presentation, and we appreciate you all, especially those who have been able to contribute while the show is ongoing, and the audience at large. I hope you have all enjoyed today's episode. If so, please remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel at Comfort Eyitayo, and as well as my Facebook, Eyitayo, at Comfort Eyitayo, as well as the Instagram accounts. So till I come your way again, let us apply the discipline, foresight, and wisdom that trust services provide, so that our stories will not end with us, but continue through those who come after us. Okay, I saw one last minute contribution. The principle, media, can you repeat that from Olubusayo? the principle behind corporate. Okay, I think we've taken that the protection of assets. Thank you all. I hope we've been able to learn one or two things about this unexplored area of trust services. Thank you for joining us. Till we come your way again, remain blessed.